presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions.
Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown, Oregon.
He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Man, inching towards mid-November. This is a fun time of year at the University of Oregon. I mean, we're getting towards the postseason of fall sports, and we have basketball in full swing. There's so much to talk about, and a lot of wins to go over as well, whether it's recruiting, on the court, on the field. Good times here in Eugene. Duck Insider on a Wednesday. I'm Chris Clayton. Thanks for joining us. We got a lot of great content today in terms of interviews, stuff to discuss. We'll be hearing from Dusty Harrah, the Ducks football sideline reporter, on his thoughts on Ducks football. That, by the way, is Friday this week. If you haven't heard, a little bit different. The Ducks are playing Friday against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The only Friday game of the regular season, at least for the Ducks here this year. We'll also be going over women's basketball's victory over Grand Canyon last night, 84-66, a 3-0 start to the campaign this year. It's Oregon men's basketball game day as well. The Ducks are taking on South Dakota State here tonight. That's one of the best mid-major programs in the nation. So a nice little challenge for Oregon at 6:30 p.m. with Joey Mack and Luke Jackson on the call, starting with a pregame show at 6 p.m. So plenty to go over here today, including we'll be talking about a little bit of women's golf, some volleyball as they'll have their schedule ahead. But one thing, I think people tuned in last night, certainly on the forefront of our minds, the release of the college football playoff rankings. Oregon moving up to number 8. I would clap and give a round of applause, but I think some Duck fans are a little perplexed. Like, what the heck? You win at number 20 Iowa, and it's a great win. Yes, a close win. It wasn't perfect, but you win on the road in tough conditions, and you go up one spot. Whatever. There's reason to be frustrated, perplexed. The reality is everything Oregon wants to achieve is still in front of them, okay? There's 12 teams now in the college football playoff. There's still good teams left on Oregon's schedule. So whatever happens here down the stretch, the goals of Oregon is still in their hands. They control their own destiny. Big Ten championship, they got to hope for some things to fall their way in terms of Indiana and Ohio State. But in terms of the national championship aspirations, it's all still there, and that's where in this community as Duck fans, we can all take a deep breath and just realize they're just numbers. Get in the bracket, swing away. That's all you can do. Big Ten, obviously loaded. 3 teams in the top 10. Ohio State, number 1. Indiana, number 2. Ducks sitting at number 8. And then USC, who Oregon still plays next Saturday, at number 17. Michigan's 18, and Iowa's 21. So an outside shot for a Big Ten team to creep up and maybe get 4 teams in, as the Ducks again host Minnesota on Friday at 6 p.m. and then have the USC Trojans next Saturday, November 22nd. Yesterday, Ducks quarterback Dante Moore spoke to the media. We have that for you here as the Ducks quarterback discussed this game week, a shorter week, as Oregon plays Minnesota on Friday. Here's Dante Moore.
It was a couple weeks ago now, but the nose injury, just walk us through that. How quickly did you realize that you would be okay, and then you switched to new face mask this week? What went into that decision, and what was it like kind of getting used to that?
Yeah, when the incident happened, of course, in the moment, I never really broke anything in my life, so a little nervous at first, but, went to the doctor and, talked about everything, but no surgery, nothing's needed. I talked to Kenny. He talked to me about different face masks and visors and stuff, so I've been wearing a visor, but it was raining in Iowa, so I just came to the 2 bars on the top, but hasn't been really much of a distraction or anything, so I can breathe normally. It feels pretty good. Just a little sore still.
How many times have you gone back and looked at that pass that you threw to Malik? And I'm not just talking about like in the film room, but maybe like on your social media or something, and just taking a look at it. And do you ever impress yourself with some of the throws that you make?
Yeah. During the moment, I didn't know the pass looked like that. More of it's like I seen one-on-one out there on the outside, and of course, I have 100% trust in Malik. But after the game, like my uncle kept sending me the video, like this is insane. Like I was like, what? So like I didn't see it until I seen the slow motion, and I mean the DB made a great play. He did a great job the whole game. But I mean those moments, it's like those passes when it happens, in the moment you're just like next play. But after the times you see it on social media, you're like, damn, that was a good pass. But overall, I mean I give most credit to Malik because he came down with the catch.
Dan was saying last night that not even just here, but in your career, you'd never been in a 2-minute drill to come back and win. Walk us through that's kind of unique for someone who's been playing this position so long, and then walk us through what that whole experience was like.
Yeah, I was talking to some of my teammates about it. I mean, we do 2 minutes so many times at practice, so, he would just put us in tough situations. But like I said, I'd never been in a situation where I had to do a 2-minute drive with the team to win the game. And during that moment, I didn't feel nervous at all, to be honest. When we took the field, like as a whole huddle, like everybody was looking at me. I told everybody to take a deep breath, like just embrace this moment. Of course, Atticus made a great kick at the end. Like give all the credit to him. He was on fire that day, especially with the weather and conditions it was in. But I don't know. I kind of was thinking about Patrick Mahomes too. I was kind of thinking about him during the 2-minute drive because I was like, he's one of the greatest to ever do it, and he's always finding a way to win the game. So I was thinking about him. I just had to make sure I protected the ball, move the ball down the field, be aware of the clock. But Atticus sealed the game for us, and we're thankful for him.
We've just heard from Dan that the conversation with some of the guys who weren't going to be able to go in this game is that you have to be a coach on the sideline. You had some time on the sideline this season, and then also just what do you see from those guys? What's that mentality like when you have to do that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players did go down, and that's just the game of football. That's sports and life, and it's always the next up mentality. And we're very talented here. We have a lot of depth and a lot of players, and I feel like just in general, it's just the people that are out right now. I feel like they helped me on the sideline in that position. When it comes like DeCorian, example, like he's a ball player, he's a playmaker for us, but he made sure he communicated to Cooper. He made sure he communicated to Justice about them making them plays, like Kenyon communicating to JJ and Roger. So and Harkey talking to Janoris and everything. So it's just we have a lot of depth, but I'm a big resource for helping out, bringing confidence to the team. But also like we do a great job here, just making sure everybody's on the same page and make sure everybody has each other's back.
Talk to me about that long run. I mean, I think I saw at times you were above 20 miles per hour.
Yeah.
First, is there a background there for you track wise? And talk me through that play. What'd you see there?
Yeah, the highest speed I ever hit was here at practice. It was 21.5. In the game, I think I had like 20 something. Yeah, it was a run play. DN crashed, so I just pulled it. But yeah, my legs, started giving out a little bit. It was when I was running, like, players are moving around all game, and I'm in the pocket majority of the time. So when I have a chance to run for, especially a long one, I thought I was running pretty fast, but I just kept getting slower and slower. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to force anything right here. But yeah, during that moment, like I said, usually Coach Landon's running on the sideline with us as well. So like, I'm looking like if he's with me, I don't know if I'm running pretty fast. But I was getting out of bounds. But overall, it was a great run. We had a lot of great runs though. I mean, the O-line did a great job, especially running against the Iowa defense, a very tough defense interior wise. But yeah, that run was pretty funny to be honest.
When you install a game plan midweek and a guy maybe goes down with injury or the weather changes drastically where you have to kind of scrap the game plan. What's that process like, and how have the coaches kind of helped the offense, helped you kind of operate in a makeshift game plan on the fly?
Yeah, of course, if you look at the beginning of the year, we're taking shots down the field. We're taking, a lot of crazy throws, and offense is all, wide open, and it's just like, all these different concepts and things. But sometimes in a game of football, especially as a quarterback, of course, you want to throw for all the touchdowns. You want to do all of these, these things. But at the end of the day, like, a win is a win. And I feel like just in general, when we're playing at, here in Wisconsin and at Iowa and these rainy, tough environments, the run game is needed. And I feel like just in general, like our front five did a great job. Our tight ends did a great job making sure they're getting pushed up front. So, yeah, it's just like the game plan kind of does change, and that's just a sport. And you just got to, embrace that moment. Like I said, example, like I got to use my legs too at this point. I can't really use my arm as much. But overall, I mean, when players go down as well, it's like, next man up mentality, like we always say. But run game is always important, especially Big Ten football. It's very important.
Building off that point of you having to use your legs in the run game, obviously it was the 50-yarder, but even in just some of these short yardage situations, creating 11-on-11 situations where they have to guard everybody for a quarterback counter and stuff like that. Just what's that conversation been with Coach Stein, especially in these last couple of weeks that you've had those rainy games, kind of putting you into that a little bit more?
Yeah, it's well, that's a lot of times when people can look at me as a quarterback, they think pro style, just in the pocket, is always throwing the ball, but game on the line, like I always went to Coach Stein, I'm like, whatever we have to do to win this game, I'm down for it. If I have to run the ball 4th and 1, if I have to 3rd and 1 quarterback run, whatever, I would do it for whatever for the team. So I feel like just in general, like you said, it's 11-on-11 football. A lot of times teams don't expect quarterbacks to run, especially in situations like that. Like I said, using my legs has been something powerful for this offense, and I'm glad that Coach Stein trusts me. I'm glad everybody on the field trusts me with the ball in my hands. But when things need to get done, touchdowns, first downs, I'm going to get it done for sure.
Minnesota, I think, still leads the Big Ten in sacks. What have you kind of seen from the offensive line to prepare for a really tough Gopher defensive line this week?
Yeah, shout out Minnesota. They of course have great defensive players. D-line is huge. They're very powerful up front. But I feel like just at practice, the way we attack against our defensive linemen as well, the way they push our offensive line here, I feel like they're prepared for anything. But yeah, it's just, every day just pushing each other. Interior is very, very tall, very big. So I feel like we'll be ready for sure. With anybody that's out there on the front 5, we'll be prepared for sure.
Just how different stylistically or even the calls, Dante, compared to a year ago for what you were running in practice. And I mean that more you guys are running far more 21 than certainly last year and even the year before, like 5 times as much. And understandably, but you're running that much more 21 or more 12 and the bigger share of it and the lower share of 11. So just how different is that to run an offense when those splits are just different?
Yeah, that's a great point. Offense has changed a ton, but I mean, when you look at our depth, we have 7 great running backs that can do everything we need in this offense. And at the end of the day, everybody knows Deere and Jordan, Thunder and Lightning, with the things they do. But overall, like I said, Coach Stein is always going to find different pieces for us to move the ball. And, at practice during spring ball and fall camp, we kind of felt that during these certain formations or this personnel, we did a great job. So we're kind of just using our strengths. And, we always attack our weaknesses, but that's something our strengths is 21 personnel, and we're going to keep doing it. It's very, useful in the pass game and run game. But when you have them type of running backs, I would love to be in 21 personnel all day.
Dan has talked a lot about peaking at the right time and playing your best football at the right time of the season. That's one thing to say. It's another thing to actually do it. What goes into that for you and making sure that, at this time in November, you're starting to play your best football?
Yeah, like I said, we're to the point where we're getting to the back end of the season and playing at Iowa, a tough environment. That was a great win for us. But just in general, our mindset every week is to go 1-0. Make sure we're pushing ourselves Monday through Friday on Saturday to get ready for the the game. But like these games are important, of course, as well. But the ones in the beginning of the season were important as well too. So we kind of don't want to treat these differently. We just want to make sure we go 1-0.
Dante, I was scrolling through Facebook last week and I got an ad, like a sponsored ad that was for a camp that you're doing this summer, I think in Portland. And I'm just curious, for those sorts of opportunities that you do off the field, how does scheduling for that work for you? And like how do you go about kind of picking those types of events, the ones that you want to do?
Yeah, shout out my agency, Equity Sports. Brandon Greer, he does a great job is communicating with me about, things I like to do and want to do off-season wise or even right now. So yeah, they plan those camps for me out into the future, just for me to give back to the community, of course. But like when it comes to doing ads and deals and stuff, they all handle that. So it's not really much on my plate. So I'm glad they're with me. I'm part of my team.
Dante Moore, successful on and off the field. Ducks quarterback leading Oregon to the 8-1 record ahead of the matchup Minnesota on Friday. More football talk when we come back. Sideline reporter Dusty Harrah sitting down with Joey Mack. Coming up next, Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider here back in our OSN studio. It was a Oregon men's basketball game day here today, and we talked a lot of football in the first segment, and we're going to continue our football talk because it's not game day, but it's a little bit of a different week as the Ducks are playing Friday at Autzen Stadium. Hoping for some better weather this time around. I shouldn't even have brought it up or jinxed it or anything, but I guess it can only go up really from the conditions last time the Ducks were at Autzen Stadium, or last time they were on the field, period, when they played at Iowa. By the way, some nice news today. Bryce Betcher, part of the Burlsworth Award list, a semifinalist. Now, he's the defending champion, I guess, the defending award winner of the Burlsworth Trophy. It rewards a former walk-on who's gone on to do great things, and Bryce Betcher, obviously one of the best linebackers in the nation, the former walk-on, a semifinalist here for it in 2025. Now, we'll go to Dusty Harrah. He sat down with Joey Mack. Dusty Harrah is the sideline reporter, of course, on the Oregon football broadcast, and him and Joey Mack talk some Ducks football.
Coming off a big win at Iowa, now getting ready for Friday Night Lights with Dusty Harrah. He's been roaming the sidelines. We were just discussing the environment at Iowa, now back at home at Autzen Stadium. First, though, what is the first memory of your time under the Friday Night Lights that comes to mind when we discuss football played under those Friday Night Lights?
Ooh, Friday Night Lights. I will go back to, golly, my very first high school football game.
Let's go! A young Dusty.
Mm-hmm. It was, I think, at Madison High School. First game. I was a freshman, and I was playing at Gladstone High School. And so that was it. It was at Madison High School, now McDaniel High School, up in Portland.
Yeah.
And
you
Gladiators
scored the game-winning touchdown.
I did not.
Oh.
I did not score the game-winning. I barely played.
You made an amazing block on the outside that sprung somebody for a
score? I think I batted a pass down, maybe.
Let's go! Yeah! That's what you like to hear.
Yeah.
I might be in the minority, but I like the occasional Friday night game. I know that it conflicts sometimes with high school football, and that's unfortunate, and family schedules with working, a 6 o'clock kick. I get it. It's the same thing that, like, with basketball. If it's 6, it can be hard to get there on time. If it's 7, it's too late for some families. Like, there's no perfect time. But I like the variety, and I think it's kind of fun to have these Friday night spotlight national games.
I do too, especially at this time of the year where I don't like when, college football overshadows the high school game, because high school football is more than just a game. For a lot of communities, it's the gathering point. And that's really that's not my first memory, but when I think of Friday Night Lights, I think of towns across America, towns across the state of Oregon, where it's a ghost town. and because everybody is at the high school, and it's community, and that means the world to me as a guy who grew up the son of a coach and being a high school football coach for many years myself. It means a whole heck of a lot. And I'm with you, though. The occasional Friday night football game, that's fun. And this time of year, it is really fun because you get that cold, crisp, late fall weather. It's going to be a fun one in Autzen Stadium. And, the fact that not every high school in the state is playing at this time of year means that it's going to be a rallying point for maybe some of those schools whose their season ended and they're done, and they can come and go and enjoy, an Oregon football game, a Big Ten football game against Minnesota.
Yeah, it's going to be fun coming up. Now, coming off an Iowa game where I think it's safe to say the Ducks faced a little bit of adversity, it's the next Duck Up game. That's how I'm going to remember it. I mean, you talk about Janoris Wilson coming in at right tackle. Jamari Johnson and Roger Saliapaga playing way more snaps without Kenyon Sadiq. Different guys rising up like Malik Benson, Justice Lowe, Jeremiah McClellan. The list goes on at the wide receiver position with DeCorian Moore out. Then Gary Bryant Jr. gets banged up, doesn't return to the game. I mean, this was the next Duck Up game. And we talked a lot in the fall about, hey, there's a lot of position battles. Mm-hmm. During camp, hey, there's a lot of depth on this team. This was the game that I'm going to now point to and say, see, we told you.
There are so many games over, Oregon football history that you can point to that are very similar to that. And I think that, everybody talks about the 94 Rose Bowl season, but it was the game where the Ducks had to go down to USC, and Tony Graziani got the start and led the Ducks to a victory there. Everybody thinks of, remember the Ducks go to Ohio State and no Kayvon Thibodeau. How are they ever going to make this game work? How are the Ducks ever going to win? And they pull out a victory. This one was, you go to Iowa where they pride themselves on teams in November. That's where great teams go to die, is Kinnick Stadium. And how many times has Kirk Ferentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes knocked off a team that has high hopes? And Oregon went in without two of their leading receivers, their starting right tackle, a starting inside linebacker, and then they lose another receiver. They're without their three leading receivers for a majority of that game, and they win. And they win in a way that a lot of people, a lot of pundits said, Oregon can't win a football game this way. Oregon can't let Iowa hang around. They need to jump on them early, and they need to run away with it, because if you give Iowa all those chances, they're going to find a way to beat you. Oregon won that game with a stifling run defense, an impressive rushing attack, and then they won it on special teams.
Yeah.
They won it on special teams in more than just one way, though. It wasn't just Atticus Appleton going 3 for 3 and a game-winning field goal after an incredible 2-minute drive. It was a punt goes over the head of the punter, and he can't wrangle it in because of the pressure. It was Jeremiah McClellan maybe or maybe not getting a fingertip on a punt early in the game. That was a complete team win, and it was a shorthanded team win. That game was awesome.
That's where I come back to special teams here, because we had said coming in, like, special teams are going to be a big deal in a close game like this. And if you've watched Ducks versus them now, you saw that Coach Lanning emphasized that. Like, hey, the Ducks can win this in special teams. It wasn't just the field position. It was just taking care of the ball. How often do you hear special teams is about taking care of the football, setting up your offense to succeed? The Ducks did that in this contest.
Oh, no doubt about it. And Caden Weegan is one of the best return men in all of college football.
Maybe the best.
They didn't allow him that opportunity. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
And it was the punts, and I think it'll get lost on a lot of people, but it was really big in my mind. That squib kick at the end of the game that Atticus kicked, it went right off the up back, and he had no idea where the ball was.
Yep.
I mean, he hit that hard. He hit it low. It did the two hops, went right into him, and that was an opportunity. Iowa was going to try to return it. They were going to do the, I don't know, what does Scott Van Pelt call it? The lateral, the woohoo, whatever lateral he does.
Well, we used to call it schoolyard insert here.
Yeah, but just throwing the ball around the field and just trying to pop one, and they had a guy who could do it. It was all phases, every point of the game. They executed on special teams. That was cool to see.
Dusty Harrah joining us, sideline reporter, and now getting ready for a Friday night game against Minnesota. Everything does condense down a little bit. The Ducks turn the page from the Iowa game quicker than they normally would, and then moved everything up a little bit, getting ready for that Friday contest against Minnesota. A Minnesota team that does lead the conference in sacks. We were talking about this before we got going on the air. It's also a team, though, that's been much better at home than they have on the road. And it's interesting. You pointed out the sacks illustrate that fact.
32 sacks on the season. I think 5 of them
42.
or 42?
Yeah.
5 of them are on the road.
How about that?
Yeah.
They've been a different team at home versus on the road.
Most teams are, especially on defense. You get that energy of a crowd behind you. It'll be loud when you're on the field. You can get a jump off the line of scrimmage. It does make it harder for a pass rusher when they go on the road to a place where the snap count can be a hard count. It doesn't have to be, a silent count where all the linemen are looking in and waiting for that first movement to happen.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Oregon, I think, comes out in this game because it is a shortened week. And look, Minnesota's coming off a bye. Oregon was on the road and now getting ready for a shortened week. There's no doubt that that's an advantage for Minnesota.
Not just on the road on a short week, but playing in one of the most physical football games that we have seen in quite some time.
Right.
That game was, it was physical through and through. 46 rush attempts for Iowa in that game against Oregon, and that is – you're taking a beating up front. The good news is Oregon's got rotation. They got guys that they've been cycling through all season long. But when you face the run that much, when Oregon runs the ball as much as they did and as effectively as they did against a physical defense, you're going to have some bumps and bruises and nicks along the way, and you hope that, the recovery is fast enough.
Dante Moore is a Maxwell Award semifinalist.
Hey.
Certainly deserving. Maybe no play more illustrative of his skill level than fitting it into the tightest window you could possibly imagine for what I thought was the play of the game. I mean, I understand making the kick, the high pressure, Atticus Sappington followed through, but that kick doesn't happen unless as part of that 2-minute drive, Dante Moore hits Malik Benson on an absolute frozen rope. And, Brad Nessler on the TV call described it as a porthole. I love that. I like that. It's not even a window. That thing's a porthole. Like, to me, it was a peephole. Like, that's all you had. And he nailed it.
That was, you see the back of the defender, and he's playing the receiver all the way because Malik had a step on him. You've got a tight window to throw it. I was astonished at the accuracy of that throw. And, look, that is one part Dante just having elite, precision on his ability to throw the ball and accuracy. But that is reps in the summer. That's where that play's made.
Yep.
Where exactly where your guy's going to be in the timing of it. He didn't hesitate. He saw the back of the defender, just went boom, drilled it. That's repetition that Dante Moore has talked about. That timing with his receivers. He loves it, and it doesn't matter that he has his 3 leading receivers out. He had a special one in number 4, and the throw was elite. The catch was elite, too, because he had a defender draped on him.
Good play by the corner, really.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And I think if you're Iowa, you're sitting there like, I don't know what you do there. I mean, great throw, great catch. You can't ask him to do anything more except for maybe turn his head, but he was pinning him to the sideline. He played it perfectly.
You bring up a good point, because I think about, what if that script was flipped? What would you have said from the sideline? Georgie have said from the booth. Jerry and I say from the booth. We would have been like, well,
hats
tip your
off.
Cap. I mean,
yeah. What do you? As the cowboy hat falls off the desk,
really falls off. Yeah.
It really is. It was one of those tip your cap. The offense makes great plays too.
Yeah.
And that was what we saw over the course of that game. It wasn't pretty for 60 minutes of football, but both teams made plays when they mattered the most. And there were a few of them on that 93-yard drive that Iowa made to take the lead, where it was just like they schemed it up. Like they found the right play at the right time, and they created leverage. Like, they've got highly paid coordinators. They've got really good players too. Sometimes the other team makes football plays, and Oregon had the pen last, as Coach Lanning likes to say. Have the pen. Who has the pen last? You can draw whatever you want, and they made a masterpiece on that final drive. That was beautiful football and execution.
Dusty Harrah, final thoughts. He will be donning the cowboy hat that will be given away to the first 20,000 fans at Otz Stadium on Friday night. No word yet on if he'll wear it while he's on the sideline. I can't really put it on over the headset.
See, and that's the problem. That's why I won't be wearing it, is because I won't be able to wear
it doesn't
my
fit
headphones.
with the headset. Like, you could go sideways and it just doesn't look right.
I do love a good cowboy hat, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Jorgie will. Jorgie's the Eastern Oregon boy.
Jorgie with shorts and the cowboy hat, just
That's a vibe right there.
that's a Jorgie vibe.
That's what I'm talking about.
Keys to the game. What are you looking for?
Oh boy. Well, as you get later into the season, it is, the football is a war of attrition.
Yeah.
And they're fighting that war of attrition. But in doing so, when you start having guys get nicks and bumps and bruises, it is taking care of the football. And I thought Oregon did a phenomenal job of that in Iowa. A red zone turnover from Dante, tried to thread a needle a little early. Good thing he tried that one because he knew how to thread the needle late. It was a lesson learned on that one. But take care of the football. And then, look, this is where Oregon has morphed into a Big Ten team. The defense is stifling. It is protect the run and then run the football. And on a short week, those things are so important. To execute in the run game on both sides of the football, that is the most important thing in a game against the Minnesota team that, look, they like to pin their ears back and get to the quarterback in those passing situations. Don't allow them to by running the football and executing early. Give yourself third and short and third and manageable to keep them on their heels.
He's Dusty Harrah roaming around on the sidelines, part of our 4 p.m. pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network on Friday evening. Enjoy the Friday Night Lights.
I love it. I am going to enjoy it. It's going to be great.
Friday Night Lights indeed. I actually happen to know high school football in our great state of Oregon will also be in the state quarterfinals Friday night. So sorry to those playing the biggest games of their lives in the playoffs. Your game will be during the Ducks game, 6 p.m. against Minnesota. So just one of those things. Just win, and then you'll be able to play the next week, right? When we come back, we talk a little golf, a little men's basketball here on Game Day. Duck and Cider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Back on Duck Insider, live from our Country Financial studio. Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Chris Clayton here with you, and we have some breaking news. Dante Moore on the, not watch list, semifinalist now for the Davey O'Brien Award. That's the best quarterback in the country, and the Walter Camp Player of the Year Award. He's semifinalist for both those awards. Of course, starting quarterback, one of the best teams in the country. You tend to be on their radar. What a year Dante Moore is having in his first season as a Ducks starter. 19 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions, and he's leading this Ducks team to a lot of wins this year, and he's getting that recognition that he truly deserves. Also needing some recognition, how about Oregon women's golf? Huge announcement today, the number 1 ranked recruiting class in the nation. That's per Golf Week, the top-ranked class for Derek Radley's program. And listen to these programs they finished ahead of that number 1 ranking. Stanford, Arkansas, Wake Forest, and Virginia behind them in that recruiting class rankings. Those are prominent big names in the collegiate golf world. So this is a big accomplishment. Oregon got off to such a strong finish to their fall season. They won the East Lake Cup, defeated Northwestern, who was the defending national champs. Oregon beat them 4-1. So they got that momentum to finish their fall season, and now they got the number 1 recruiting class. Huge momentum for Oregon women's golf, and really exciting. Oregon men's basketball playing tonight. It's game day, 6:30 p.m. with a 6 p.m. pregame show. Joey Mack and Luke Jackson are going to be on the call tonight on the Oregon Sports Network. And nice little challenge today for the Ducks. They feel good. They're 2-0. South Dakota State today. Probably, and they played Hawaii and Rice, who are a couple solid teams. Probably the biggest tests yet for the Ducks. It'll be the second game back for Jackson Shellstad. South Dakota State comes into this game with a 2-1 record. And, for Oregon, I think they're probably trying to find a little bit more rhythm offensively. The defensive numbers have been good. Now, with their point guard Shellstad back, let's see if they can really get that going offensively and have a strong game here tonight. Dana Altman discussed that and more. He talked to the media yesterday after practice about the Ducks' early season and the matchup with South Dakota State.
Yeah, thoughts on South Dakota State?
Well coached. They know what they want to run. They won a couple ball games and lost at Northern Iowa the other night in a close ball game. So we'll have to play. We'll have to take away the three-point shot. They got a couple guards that are really scoring. So another game where we're going to have to play a little bit.
What kind of progress have you guys been able to make in practice since the last game? Just on all ends with other things.
We worked really hard last couple days. Probably have to back off a little bit today. We went really hard over the weekend just to try to get a little conditioning, a little tempo. We're playing way too slow. We're just nothing sharp, crisp. So we've worked really hard the last couple days, just getting the pace where we want it, and gone really long both days. So like I said, we'll have to back off a little today and hopefully be ready tomorrow night.
Dana, what do you do just to kind of shake them out of this little shooting slump that the team kind of seems to be in collectively?
Well, we got to take better shots. That's the first thing. The ball movement's got to get better so we get some better shots. Right now everybody's kind of searching, for, where they fit in offensively and, where their shots are going to come from. But obviously our guard's going to have to shoot it better, with 4 for 27 the other night, so, and we know Jackson can, we've seen TK shoot it better, and Way's just trying to find his way right now. But he'll come along. He shoots it really good in practice. He just putting so much pressure on himself during games that it hasn't gone well for him. But no, I think we'll find a rhythm. We know the guys can shoot it better than what we've been showing. So just got to keep working at it, and like I said, try to find the pace and try to get some better shots in transition. I think there's a lot of ways we can get better shots.
Do you think having Jackson back takes some of that pressure off of?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You saw our turnovers cut down, and not that we got into stuff. As I said before, the 5 weeks off, I think, hurt our team more than it hurt Jackson, just because we didn't have a flow and we weren't getting into things. So, I think Jackson will bounce back pretty quick here. His conditioning's pretty good. He got tired the other night, but, it's a lot different going up and down than just going out and running a little bit, when you're changing directions and getting hit, and knees are bent, it wears you out a little quicker than just running.
When the percentages maybe aren't where you want them to be, how important or more important does it become to go to Nate down low and get him the touch?
Well, our inside-out percentages are really good. When the ball hits the paint, our percentages are pretty good. When it hits 3 sides, we're pretty good. We're just really impatient, take way too many shots without getting it in and getting the defense to collapse a little bit. So, you'd like to say some of that's just, guys trying to find their way and inexperience, but they got to have better basketball savvy than that. We got to get better shots, and a little patience will help us in that regard. But also, we got to get some more in transition. We're just not getting the ball up floor quick enough at all.
Do you have any update on Pryor?
He didn't practice at all 2 days ago, and yesterday just did some half-court stuff. So I don't know if he'll be ready or not.
How does having Jackson out there kind of improve your guys' ability to hit those two sides rather than just keep it on one side for possession?
Well, again, he knows our offense. He's a very good offensive player. Against pressure, the turnovers went way down to 12. So, no, he just gives us experience. He gives us a guard that has a good feel for things offensively. So, he's a big part of our team. That's obvious. He and Nate are the two guys that have the most experience coming back from a year ago. So, that's. And then KJ's got a lot of experience also with us. Sean's got a lot of experience, at this level. So you got to really depend on those guys here early to try to get some things smoothed out.
What do you like with Sean's activity off the bench and his versatility for you?
Oh, absolutely. No, his effort, practice, games, he plays hard. He's starting to get a feel for, what we want him to do. And, no, I couldn't be any more pleased with him. He's graded out as high or higher than anybody in our scrimmages and our games.
What's been keeping Jamari out so far?
Jamari is on a NCAA 3-game suspension for selling shoes. And so I wasn't going to bring it up unless you asked, but you asked, so he got suspended 3 games for selling his shoes.
That's still a thing they care about?
I guess.
Maturity-wise, what have you seen from KJ this season?
Well, I think he's trying to make more plays. He's getting some hands on some balls. There's still a lot more to his game. He's got to run that floor harder. I think he can do a better job on the boards, but, he's got a feel for what we want to do, and, we need him to, be more physical and continue to get better, on the boards and on the defensive end.
Where do you see TK kind of fitting into this offense as it progresses?
That's a good question. I don't know. There's, ways got to fit in better. We know Jackson's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Dev and Dez, we can go bigger at the wings. So, TK, we know he can shoot it. I think his defense continues to improve. I think he's got to get a little more physical, with things he does offensively and defensively. But, he's a big part. Hopefully he'll start shooting it a little bit. Again, his shot's a good shot. He shoots it well in practice. Just we need that to translate and carry over to the games.
I know it's a small sample size, but Nate's ability to protect the rim with the 5 blocks a game and just maybe your overall team averaging almost 9 a game. Just what do you think of your activity there?
Well, we're big inside with Nate, and Ezekiel, is going to have to play more for us, and he will. KJ's got good size. Sean's bouncy. So we should protect the rim pretty good. Again, our activity defensively has been pretty good. It's our discipline of where guys are off, our rules, off and to the ball, when to help and recover and when not to. We're just making too many mistakes. But I like the effort. I think our effort's been good defensively. We just making fundamental mistakes that are giving up some easy baskets.
So at this point, then, Jackson back roughly a week or so. You talk about the 5-week setback, so you feel like you're like in week 2 of where you could have been or should have been?
You know, we're way behind because of a lot of factors, us getting started late and everything. But with Jackson out, you know, we basically did that the first day of formal practice. And so we are behind where we should be at this time. But I wouldn't know if it's second or third week, but we are behind. There's no doubt about that.
Dana Altman talking to the media about Oregon men's basketball only in November here, trying to figure out, work out the kinks, work everybody together, get Shellstad back from injury. We'll see what happens. They play tonight, game day, as they take on South Dakota State, 6:30 p.m. When we come back, we talk a little Ducks women's basketball, fresh off a win over Grand Canyon. Duck Insider continues next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We're live from the Country Financial Studio. Let's talk a little Ducks women's basketball. Oregon last night, 84-66, the final, a victory over Grand Canyon University. This is a GCU team that has been the toughest test for Oregon so far. You know, obviously they haven't had the toughest schedule yet. They've played West Georgia, Montana, now GCU so far. Those teams will be solid in their respective conferences, but GCU with some high-level, power conference-level talent. Oregon got off to an incredible start. The Ducks led 28-9 after the first quarter. I mean, it was a torrid pace. They were forcing turnovers. They were getting layups, and they were hitting their shots in the half court. Oregon hit their first 7 shots from the field for that incredible start, which is a great sign. The first game without Eliza Mevius. The heartbreaking news earlier this week of her tearing her ACL. Mevius will be out the rest of the season. Ori Long got the start. Katie Fiso, the point guard, 20 points, 10 assists. Mia Jacobs, her best game as a Duck so far with 26 points. There's a lot to like, a lot to improve on. Kelly Graves spoke to the media after the game.
Well, a win is a win. It wasn't our finest effort in terms of effort. I thought at times we let up, but what a great start. First quarter we were on point, and we just kind of lost some intensity, built a lead, and we've been pretty good with leads up until now, but I thought today we just kind of relaxed and never really kind of got back under control. But credit Grand Canyon. They fought and played hard and gave us everything they could handle, or we could handle. So, yeah.
Made your first 7 shots. What was really impressed you with that opening?
Well, yeah, I just thought that we got some easy baskets too, which helped. I thought Katie played amazingly early in that. I think she assisted on 5 of those 6, and then we just kind of got loose with the ball after that. But yeah, great energy flying around, and that's kind of how we want to play. And then we just kind of lost some steam.
Katie specifically, 20 points, 10 assists, but also the 7 turnovers.
Yep.
How do you kind of balance her being aggressive, finding her shot, finding passes, while also kind of limiting those?
Yeah, well, it's definitely on her 100%. Oftentimes we didn't have correct spacing, so she was trying to make passes in small windows. I thought she got a little too deep tonight, and she's still working on that. We forget she's just 3 games into her sophomore season. She was getting her assists in transition and then on the perimeter, and that's what she's great at attacking the basket to score. She's still working on her get in the paint and make the right read. And that we're going to have games like that. But she was 15-2 assist to turnover ratio going into this, so I don't think it's a huge problem. I think it was just a tough night for her. But she made up for it with overall some great play.
Why was Ari the right fit to replace Eliza in the starting 5?
Oh, she's been our most solid guard among those. Even though I thought Estera played really well tonight, and she has played well, we just opted to go for Ari. She gives us a lot of some more length and just defensively makes things happen. But we had some this on me. I'm trying to play everybody and did play everybody. This is the 3rd straight game we've played everybody, and we had a couple bad combinations out there. Just defensively, we weren't on point in that second half at all.
Like being out there without Elisa, though, and just dealing with that, seeing her on the bench and not having her presence defensively, offensively, all that.
Yeah, senior guards, she always plays about the same, and then some games she spikes, but her floor is always really solid. And, we just have to, it's unfortunate that this happened, mainly just for her, but obviously it hurts us as well. But I'm really confident somebody's going to step up into that role. And right now it may not be one person, but everybody's just got give a little bit more. But I think she was down there helping coach. I saw her talking to a couple of players, and, she's just one of those positive people. She's got a good outlook.
Yeah, even during warm-up, she's helping shag balls already. I mean, she's out there so soon after that happened. What's that say about just kind of her commitment to being engaged with her recovery and with your team this year?
Yeah, well, that's who she is. She's a great teammate, just a great person all the way around. I told our trainers and our doctors, we have a brand new trainer, and the one thing about Elisa is she's going to push. She's going to push them. When she broke her hand last year, she wanted to come back, and wanted to keep coming. Well, she played a whole month with her right hand broken. That tells you how tough she is. But I just told them, I said, be ready, because at 5 months, she's going to, I feel good. I should be able to get out and go. I told her, you just wait.
She had surgery, or is that scheduled?
I think it's scheduled for next week. Yeah. Or later this week, actually.
The Ducks moving on without Eliza Mevius on the court, but still a big presence off the court. The Ducks are 3-0 ahead of the matchup Sunday against Army at 2 p.m. We'll recap the show, finish it out when we come back. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working at our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Finishing out Duck Insider here on this Wednesday. It's a really busy day. Don't forget there's no Oregon football coaches show tonight. That's because Oregon men's basketball is playing 6:30 p.m. with a 6:30 pregame show on the Oregon Sports Network. Joey Mack on the call with Luke Jackson, or you can go to Matthew Knight Arena itself as well. Check out the Ducks taking on South Dakota State. Oregon back a little bit more healthy. They get Jackson Shellstad back in the mix in the backcourt. Him and Nate Biddle, a two-man tandem that is going to give the Ducks a lot of wins here this season, and they're hoping for number 3 against South Dakota State. Again, Oregon football in action on Friday. By the way, Oregon volleyball playing Friday at Indiana, then at Purdue as they try and finish strong and maybe get themselves in position for an NCAA tournament berth. And then Oregon women's basketball back in action Sunday. It's a signing day in women's basketball, so stay tuned to GoDucks.com. Could be some news for Kelly Graves and the Ducks as well. I'm Chris Clayton. That'll do it for Duck Insider. Let's finish this week strong.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.